Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I want to chat just a little bit about one of the hottest releases of this year. I think it's one of the most anticipated titles. Came out this past week, and that's Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning by Big Huge Games and 38 Studios, obviously published by EA. And, this game, for what it is, I mean, a lot of people just think, oh, here we go, just another action RPG, just another fantasy action RPG. And on the surface, it looks like that, but I mean, actually on the cover, you have some big names actually attached to it with R.A. Salvatore, Todd McFarlane, Ken Ralston, who worked on the Elder Scrolls series. So when you look at it, you should give it a little bit of credit just because of that. But today I want to talk a little bit about the impact that I think this game is actually going to have on its genre and the action RPG genre. And when they sat down to make this game, obviously they wanted to create this epic, sprawling story. They have big ideas for where the series can go. But they did something that a lot of games in this genre don't do, and that's they focused on the combat. They made sure that the combat in this game is as tight as can be and makes you want to continue to play minute to minute. And you know what? They achieved it. The combat in this game is so much fun. It's so satisfying to play. I mean, the number of different weapons that you can use and combinations that you can do are awesome. And not only that, they also make them so easy to do. I mean, you have a sword, you press X, all right, you swing your sword. You press X, pause, press X again, bam, you're pulling off this combo. And I'm finding myself having fun just using all these different weapon combinations. And, for a genre that is called action RPG, when I think back to a lot of games in that installments, I mean, the Elder Scrolls series is one of my favorite series of all time. But I'm not walking away from it thinking about the combat. I'm walking away thinking about the story and the things that I've done. I mean, Skyrim, the world to me is the most realized video game world of all time. So I'm walking away remembering those things, not necessarily remembering the combat. But with Reckoning, I'm walking away thinking about, wow, how awesome was it when I shot that guy in the air, with my sword and then shot a couple arrows into him. I'm feeling more like I'm playing God of War when I'm playing it. And then layered on top of that, there's a whole epic open world RPG that I love. The one thing that I'm hoping that this game does is it's now setting the bar for what an action RPG game should be. That combat really does make a difference. That if you're able to give me satisfaction in the minute-to-minute things that I'm doing, which, in most of games like this is actually the combat, give me that. Continue to give me that. Behind me here I have Borderlands. And that game, when I look at it, it had an impact on the industry. And by combining that loot aspect, that, questing into a first-person shooter, and now has set the bar for that. I'm totally looking forward to Borderlands 2 because of the way that game made me feel. Reckoning has the promise of not only sequels to it, but they're also working on an MMO in this world. And just feeling the combat of this, and everybody always talks about where MMO is going to go, who's going to make that next huge MMO. Well, you know what? If they can add in the combat that this game has, the action combat, and push that into an MMO world, I can't even imagine what that game would be like. For me personally, at least on the console end, that would be huge. That would totally open up a true action MMO onto a console that would feel so great. I mean, obviously you can have it on the PC also with a gamepad, but that would be great. I guess you could say DC Universe Online tried to do that and make an action MMO, but it didn't achieve it, I think, in the way that this game actually could. So do me a favor, check out Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Tell people who are not really into RPGs, tell them about this game, because I almost think that this may be a game that can draw people into a genre that they don't usually feel comfortable with. Because if they're into, let's say, God of War, games like that, but they don't like to play Oblivion or Skyrim, this is the perfect blend of that style. It really, really pushes the combat and the action, and I mean, you can spend hours in this game. So, I think that we need to look at this game, and, it may not be the true game for you, but if you are into action games, realize the impact that this game can have moving forward in video games. And, I think Reckoning has done a great job of pushing the game forward.